The first time
ever I saw your face.
Yes. The first time ever I saw your face. You look so fine. Did I hit all the notes, Janaya?
Oh, that was a new note, but we liked it.
Oh, whatever. Don't even.
We haven't heard that note in the history of mankind.
Oh, get out and good night. Get out and good night. OMG. Ladies and gentlemen, this is season 5, episode 18 of the Scandalous Scandal Recap. Yay! I'm Larry Brown Jr. and this is Janaya Wright. We are happy to be with you here this Thursday evening. It's been a bit of an interesting news day, though. Just in America, period. We know, Janaya, I don't know if you read the comments. I always try to relay to you what's going on on the YouTube page when people write comments and everything. Do you have anything to say to the people when I relay those comments to you and screenshot them when you don't reply to them?
I think that anybody that watches the chat would not take that personally. I have a personal problem related to technology, working on it. But LBJ, I am just so grateful for everybody that watches. I love this show. I love our family on our virtual family. It's so much fun.
It is. It's so much fun. But I say that to say today has been an interesting news day here in the US. Crazy day. We started the day with news. If anyone's a fan of wrestling, that Jenna Lauer, I think is her name. Anyway, China, the wrestler, died at like 40, 50 something years old. And then I'm landing at LAX airport, take my phone off of airplane mode, and I have a text that says Prince, ! I'm like, what? What about him? And I find out that the beloved artist, formerly known as Prince, has made his transition to the great by and by. And we want to take this moment to just stop and take a pause and have a moment of silence for Prince, right, Janaya?
Yes. Thank you, LBJ.
All right. Well,
I'm happy.
Like Prince said, baby, I'm a star. Baby, I'm a star. Okay? Shout out to you.
LBJ, I just have to say one more word about Prince. I love him. And, it's so crazy. I swear to you, in the last 2 weeks, I have been listening to Musicology on repeat. I swear, I have a witness.
Musicology made me want to play the guitar. Like just spank
my gosh, I'm talking about the whole
Musicology. I want to spank the guitar.
There's a song on there, Call My Name. Okay, if y'all don't know it, get on YouTube and find it. Prince, Call My Name. It'll change. I think we
should probably do a blab after this about Prince if we need to.
We totally should. Let's
shout everyone out with Prince. Yeah, but we're here to talk about Scandal. Already, yes. Listen, so if this is your first time with the Scandal Recap, we welcome you to engage with us on social media. So our hashtag, as you can see on my lower thirds and Janaya's lower thirds, is Scandal Recap. And what you can do is you can use that on Twitter or you can use that on Instagram. You can also, if you're watching us live, like right now, you can go and make a comment on the YouTube page and it can come up on the screen. Or if you're watching us in Google Plus, you can click the join the Hangout button at the bottom, and then you can chat in the Q&A live with Hey, Janaya. I'm here for your Janaya and LBJ. I'm here for your reviewing goodness. Come on, reviewing goodness. Feed my flesh. Speak to me. Yes.
Hi, Dominique Driggs.
Oh my gosh. Dan Blakemore is here as always. Dan Blakemore is shouting out Musicology to you, Janaya. And look here, Gigi Johnson is present and accounted for.
Hey, Gigi.
Gigi, welcome. We are so glad you are here. Janaya, you were about to say something?
LBJ, the moment has passed, but I just love as you were telling people how to get engaged. You were pantomiming. You were giving people you were like, you can just reach up and press the button. Like, it's really very supportive. I think. And I just wanted to acknowledge that.
Thank
you.
Thank you. Know, we are a family here. There is no point card for the scandal recap. So let me just say this and get this out of the way. Stephanie Beard is here. Yes, here, but very sad. First Prince, now Scandal. Oh Lord, Scandal. Stephanie Beard connected Prince to Scandal. I can't take it.
Stephanie, get us focused.
Hashtag this too much. This too much.
We gotta get focused.
But no, we are focused. And so if we lose focus or we have lost our focus, let me take my glasses off. If we've lost focus with something, please shout us out. Tell us that we're wrong. We don't mind the correction. We will correct you just as you have the right to correct us. Okay. Right. So with that said, let us begin. Tonight's episode, Till Death Do Us Part. Janiyah and Wright. I just said your middle name on the Scandal recap. I'm so sorry.
That's fine.
I see you took my lead and took your glasses off too. So we're gonna be sexy squinting all night to the people over the hangout.
I don't think I can keep them off, but I want to try.
Look, when I'm not on, I'll be like putting my glasses on like an old daddy, like I'm gonna be putting them on like that. So listen,
we need to rename this the nearsighted recap because we can't see. But let's get started.
Tonight was all about one Jake Ballard, BKA or AKA Harris. Dun dun dun.
Seriously.
We opened tonight's episode with a young man sitting on the porch of his home, and he lives with two parents who are completely at odds, and he lives in an abusive household. You can tell that there's a real abuse going on. There's some physical abuse going on. We learn later that there's some sexual abuse going on in this household, and this young man has known about it since his early years. Janiyah, talk about what we saw tonight with the backstory with Jake Ballard, also known as Pete Harris.
Yes, let's do that, LBJ. We have to start there.
Shout out to those glasses.
This entire episode, as you said, LBJ, it was dedicated to Jake. And I was so excited about that. I mean, we have wanted to know more about Jake's backstory. The little snippets that we have gotten about Jake have been about, say, his romantic background or his background as a B613, other slaughters that he's made. But LBJ, this is our first time getting to know the Jake that existed before B613, and we also, for the first time, got to see a little bit of that B613 programming process. Now, we had gotten some snippets before of the reprogramming process as it relates to Huck, but to actually watch that initial programming, that was epic. I am just so happy we got a chance to see that.
Let me just add, I have to jump in here, though, and say, I've said here on the Scandal recap, and I don't like to go back and repeat what I've said a lot. I like to bring out what you say and other people say. But I do like to point out things as it relates to Rowan. I like to point out that I said I would love to see the backstory of B613.
Yes, you did.
Rowan, to see if Rowan can get down with the get down, to see how they got involved in B613. And I'm so glad we got a chance to actually see that. And so we can go into that a little bit later, but you kind of just scratched the surface with that. We got to see all of that kind of stuff tonight. I was very grateful for it.
Oh my gosh. Let me just say this episode was so important. And just to give a little bit more context for the episode in terms of where it is in the season, you have to remember the last few episodes have really been more focused on the election season and everything that's happening on Capitol Hill. This episode, there was nothing directly about the election in the episode.
Right.
Everything was really focused on Jake and his story and how other characters were interacting with that. So as you said, LBJ, we kick off the show in a flashback. And that was so wonderful. You know, they continue to use the flashback mechanism throughout the episode, and that was wonderful. We start out, we see Jake as a little boy, and initially you don't know it's Jake. Right? You just see this little boy and he's playing on the porch, and you know, you look at him, he's a little bit roughed up. You know, you kind of feel like he's a little boy that's been through something. And you hear in the background a father abusing a wife. It's a man abusing a woman. And then the man talking about abusing his daughter. LBJ, what did you think in that initial scene?
Let me tell you, Janiyah, I immediately was going through my mental Rolodex of characters for Scandal, and I was like, who is this? Who is this? And I kept thinking to myself, it's none other than Jake. This is not Huck as little boy. This is not Charlie, right? So I'm thinking, who do we need to learn about?
Right.
Let's take a few steps back. Scandal is notorious for giving us the backstory when we need the backstory for people. One of the things that we did not like about losing Harrison was that we never got to get that backstory episode for Harrison. Well, for Jake, thankfully, we get that backstory episode, and tonight was the night for that. I thought immediately, Janiyah, that this has to be Jake that we're watching. And then you saw that when they cut back to reality, to 2016, to the election year, to all that's going on, to the pending wedding that's supposed to be going on, right?
Yeah.
So we saw all of that taking place. What did I think? I thought, okay, this is why we're going to find out this episode why Rowan refers to himself as father to Jake. Remember, he's been playing this entire father thing out for quite a few episodes, really a few seasons now. He calls Jake his son.
Yes,
he refers to Jake as Olivia's brother. He says that he's proud of his son. This is my son in whom I'm well pleased. Like, he's acting like he's God and Jake is Jesus, right? And we find out that, first of all, Jake is Jesus is not real Jake's name. That man's name is Pete Harris. Harris went through some stuff, and Pete Harris was pulled up. We learned as we advanced in the flashbacks that Pete Harris committed a crime that he was going to go to jail for. And Rowan Pope pulled Pete Harris up and pulled him aside with some other goon, and while he was locked up, and he essentially told him, "Look, you can come and be with me. You can go be that itch. I have an itch, or you can be I have an itch." And he says to him, you know, your name. And Jake says, but wait, I'm looking at this contract, and this contract for my release and my freedom says that this is Jake Ballard. My name is Pete Harris. Dun, dun, dun. We learn that his name is not Jake Ballard. We go through all of this, and we start to watch the making of a B613 agent. So let's back up a little bit. So we saw him as a little boy, going through with his father and his mother. We listened to his sisters being raped by the father over and over again. And then we fast forward a few years where he is in the military. He commits a crime, and he's facing jail time. He's facing federal prison time. He's facing federal prison time for this crime that he has committed. Rowan Pope goes and pulls his man's profile, and he's like, this kid's got a talent. He sees his backstory, and he sees him as malleable. And so what does he do? He takes him and he goes in and he says, I'm the potter, you are the clay, and you're going to become what I want you to become, but you will become what I want you to become by any means necessary. And we watch the making of Jake Ballard, the B613. Are you about to correct me?
I am not going to correct you, but I'm just going to raise a question.
Yeah.
So as we watch this initial confrontation, we see Eli Rowan Pope coming up to Jake, and he's making this indecent proposal. He's saying to Jake, listen, you're rogue Marine anyway. You can either come with me and be a part of B613 without me giving you any details about what it is, or you can go to jail for 10 years. We know enough about Eli Rowan Pope that he will do anything to get what he wants.
Yep.
And I bet, LBJ, that 10-year stint is probably something that wasn't even actually on the table.
You know it wasn't.
Jake Ballard, Pete Harris, I think he was selected, LBJ, because research had been done on his background. He had been being monitored. And I would even go as far as to say Eli Rowan Pope and Command and B613 may have set up and instigated the very fight that had Jake in the brig to begin with. As we're sitting there watching Eli Rowan Pope talk with Jake the very, very first time, as I'm watching the scene, I'm immediately thinking, oh my gosh, Jake has been manipulated from day one. Yes. The very first time that he walked into Rowan Pope, he was being controlled. So there's never been an instance where Jake has had any free will. He never has. He's always been manipulated. So throughout the flashbacks, we watch Jake repeatedly tried to say no, right? You know, we see Eli Rowan Pope trying to program him, saying, you're no longer Pete Harris. You're now, you know, Jake Ballard. That's the name I've given you. I'm your father now. And we watch Jake, again, bloody nose, beat up, thrown hither and thither. We're watching Jake reject the B613 mindset. He, throughout these flashbacks, is saying, you know what? I'm trying to be a part of this program here, but I don't understand why you have to change my identity for me to do it. He was rejecting the programming, LBJ. And then came the flashback where we start to watch Eli Rowan Pope start to leverage some of the other members of B613 in the programming of Jake. And who steps out, LBJ, to help with the programming of Jake?
Charlie, of all people.
Of all people.
Charlie, but Janiyah, is it not ironic? Think it not strange that I've got glasses on. Hold on. I've got glasses, no glasses. I was cheating behind the scenes. Think it not strange that Charlie was a part of B613 at the onset. Charlie, Charlie is a what? Charter member of B613.
Right.
Charter member.
LBJ, who would have thought? I mean, when we have watched Jake interact with Eli Rowan Pope, we have thought that he was, you know,
the number one. We thought Jake was the number one. Never did we know Jake was a part of the hazing breakdown of Jake.
Yes. For all we know, LBJ, Jake could have been Project Runway season 13. We don't know what season he is.
Exactly. Charlie is a founding member. He is Alpha Chapter founding member, and he is Jake's pro fight for B613. That's what he is. Uh-oh, Janiyah went away. B613 got Janiyah. Where'd she go? She's gone. Are you back? Oh, she's back. Okay.
LBJ, so you know what? I love that we're walking through the flashbacks. I think we should just wrap up the flashbacks. What do you think?
That's fine. I think that the flashback showed us essentially why Jake is. I feel like we need to rename him. Like we've always called him Jake. Jake is, mind you, Jake is one of those names where it's just like, oh hi, I'm Jake. Like that is such a regular name. Now granted, right down here it says what? Larry. My name is Larry. I am a regular named person
LBJ.
as well.
LBJ.
Thank you. Yes, LBJ. Yes, I'll go with that. Yes, LBJ.
That's why we call you the LBJ.
But my birth certificate definitely says Larry. Okay, it says Larry Brown and Suffix Jr. Okay, no, I'm not Lawrence. Yes, right. I'm really a Larry. Ask my wife. She asked me over and over again before we got married. You sure you're Lawrence? No. I am Maddie and Eddie, definitely named my father Larry, and I am the junior to Larry, okay? So let's get that straight. Jake has the most simple name ever. Like, he is called Jake. Not Jacob, not Jacoby, not Jackson. No, he's Jake.
His birth name, though, was Pete. So, I mean, they didn't...
Again, like a simple name.
They didn't have to work very hard here.
Like, I take a stand in this moment for every simple named man in America and the world abroad. Shout out to all of you men who have complex names with more than 2 syllables, okay? I am Larry. Larry. That's... Anyhow, enough of my personal venting, enough of my therapy moment for the night.
Obviously, LBJ, you're talking about a life's journey I know nothing about.
Clearly, you know, your name is Janiyah, like reality, Janiyah-ality, like
That's right. That's right.
But these flashbacks tonight gave us great insight to Jake's loyalty to Rowan, and that's what we saw. To summarize everything with these flashbacks, I mean, we saw how when Jake was about to graduate and cross those burning sands into B6.
Well, LBJ, right before you get there, we have to talk about what programming mechanism Eli Rowan Pope employed.
Oh my God!
When Jake was just not allowing himself to let go of his identity of pure Harry.
It was the whole. I mean, how many times have we heard the whole on Scandal? We've heard the whole first with Huck. Huck was the first one to put us on game with the whole.
Right.
He's like 752, 752, 752, 752, 752, hamburger, 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 cheeseburger, 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 hamburger, hamburger. I want a hamburger, I want a hamburger, I want a hamburger, I want a hamburger, hamburger, 752, 752. And so Olivia's like, what is going on with you? What's going on? He's like, 752, 752, 752. And she's like, Huck, pull it together. And her and she's talking and she's like, listen. And Huck tells her, he says, the hole, he put me in the hole. And they're like, what hole? What's going on? And Huck revealed what the hole was, like season 3. And we learned about the hole with Rowan. Because remember, we learned Rowan was the daddy in season 2. And then we learned about the hole in season 3. So now we got to see how the hole was used. The hole was used as a mechanism. Let me take a step back. Rowan Pope is a smart man. And I say this over and over again. This man took a mechanism that was used in slavery to break down the mindset of people that he wanted to control. He took the mechanisms that he read about and studied, whether he was a curator at the Smithsonian or not. He studied history and he saw what worked and what did not work. And he did that. Do you do realize, don't forget, Janiyah, hashtag never forget. That's what happened in slavery. He made them, and he enslaved those men to be 613. That's just like Africans were enslaved to Americans and became slaves that built this country. He enslaved men to become slaves to be 613. That's all I'm saying. That same practice was used. If you do your research, that same practice was used to enslave, to break down Africans who were slaves who became African Americans as they began to breed and I shouldn't say breed, as they began to I lost my word.
Yeah, LBJ, we know exactly what you're talking about.
Yes, to reproduce. Sorry.
Take it away. As time went on.
Yes.
And we are watching that process play out with Jake. We're literally watching Eli Rowan Pope break this man. We watch him break Pete and turn him into Jake. How does he break him? He puts him in the hole. What else does he do, LBJ? He punches him in the face. He has everybody beating him up. What else does he do, LBJ? The worst thing he could possibly do, which is to bring up the horrors of Pete's life. He says, Pete, listen, you're angry, but you're not angry at me, Pete. You're not angry at me because I put you in the hole for 30 days underground. Clearly you smell now, you've come out. He's not mad. You're not mad at me, Pete. You're really mad at your father. And what does Eli Rowan Pope proceed to do? He proceeds to bring up every horrible thing that Pete's father ever did. He talks about the abuse of Pete's mother. He talks about the sexual abuse, the ongoing raping of Pete's little sister for years and years and years at the hands of Pete's father. And he talks about it when Jake is in this broken state of having just been in the hole. And he comes out, and Eli Rowan Pope uses that moment to replace himself in Pete's head as his father. He says, you know what? I'm not your father. I'm not that guy. He said, I'm your father now. I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to protect you. I'm not going to victimize you like that other guy did. And so he weakens, he breaks Pete down to the point where he is nothing. He's just putty. And then as he is building him up and putting him back together, he's feeding him with the identity of Jake Ballard, and he's feeding him with the notion of Eli Rowan Pope and command being his father. And so just to play out the flashbacks, we end up watching Jake finally, he is giving in. He's giving into the process, and he completes the B613 programming. And he's sitting there in his very smart B613 uniform. And Eli Rowan Pope says to him, son, always calling him son, repeatedly through all the shenanigans. He says, son, you've completed the process. And now you have two options. He said, you can go out here in these streets and be normal, or you can live this B613 life that I have built you for, that I have created you for. And Jake Ballard stands up and leaves the office. He chooses normal. He chooses normal, LBJ. He walks out of the office. The next time we see him, he's not out on a B613 mission. He's out there, LBJ, to go and do what he wanted to do all along, and that was to kill his biological father.
Yeah.
He walks right into that childhood home where all of that abuse had taken place, where he watched his mother die from being beat, and where he watched his sister hang herself in the backyard from all the ongoing rape that was happening to her whole life.
She aborted her son nephew.
Yes, she was pregnant when she died. Okay, with this child that had been implanted in her by her own father. And he goes in there, he kills that man, and we're thinking, what's he gonna do now? Is he still gonna be normal? Because he's acting a little B613-ish. Well, guess what? He marches himself right back to the office of Eli Rowan Pope, and we're watching Eli with his good wig. Did you see that good wig?
So I wish I was home because I would have put on my good wig. You see that male pattern baldness. I want to put on my good wig so I could be Rowan Pope tonight. Because I have my good curly wig to my afro to put on to be Rowan Pope. That was good. I was going to talk about that later.
LBJ, we saw Eli Rowan Pope in his good wig, okay? And we see Jake come in and give in to the program. LBJ, I've got to get into the chat. What are people in the chat saying about these flashbacks?
Janiyah, you read my mind. I have been here like looking at what everyone is saying, hence the glasses on. There is no shame here. I mean, we have people, Ida Matrix, I'm going to read them all. Charlie is still in DC-13, and it's good to be kink. Charlie told Sue his job is to spy on other spies. We need to put a pin in that and remember that for episodes to come. Charlie is a spy. We've been trying to figure out who the eyes are. It's Charlie. Charlie is the eyes. Ida Matrix, you are on it as always. We also have Stephanie Beard. Remember a couple of seasons ago, Jake saying to Fitz that because of him, Fitz, he was sucked into B613. I bet the referenced congressman's son that he beat up was Fitz. Now it all makes sense. Stephanie Beard, where have you been? Why are we just now meeting you in season 5? You are so right. We did not go further into that. Look at that epiphany on Janiyah's face. Look at that epiphany on Janiyah's face. Seriously, no.
I would not have put that together.
Yeah, I actually didn't either, but I totally see it. I felt like we would have figured out who it was and where it would have been coming from, like this whole congressman's son. But I thought that it could have been someone else. Never did I think that it was Fitz. You got it, Stephanie Beard. You are on it. Rakira, hey, how are you? LBJ bringing up Rowan, slavery, and the whole too deep for words, too much. Rowan equals scary, scary, scary. I agree. Rakira again. Pete, Rowan, Harrison, Olivia, both saved from jail by the Popes.
Yes, and LBJ, I have to call out Rakira again. She says, people who are normal, grow up in normal, putting it in quotes, normal households, don't wind up in B613. This is so important to point out because what Eli Rowan Pope keeps doing is calling out the difference between what he creates in terms of his children, okay, and in terms of these B613, creatures, and normal. Right? He's always drawing that line as if normal is the most, the worst thing that anyone could possibly be. Yeah. And that's an important point. Thank you for calling that out, Rakira.
Yeah, and another thing Rakira said, Rakira, you were on fire tonight. And I agree with this 100%. And Rakira says, killing his father was his last action as Pete. Once he finished killing his father, he was now Jake.
Beautiful.
There was nothing left for his identity as Pete.
Beautiful.
Kira, that summarizes what I was going to say about Pete Jake. Like that was the thing that signed the deal, that inked the deal there. And I think that we need to pay close attention to the way that he came into B613 because he's there. To me, there's still something in Jake that could go astray. There's one thing left that Rowan didn't cover, even though he thinks he's covered everything, that I think Jake might be a little loose on. And we know, and I say that because of his willingness and his whole affinity for Olivia. There's something that Jake has for Olivia that causes him to stray away from Rowan. And that's what Rowan does not know about. That's what Rowan cannot take. That's why Rowan said that if the wedding did not happen tonight, if the wedding did not happen at all, he told Olivia, he said, I will slit his throat. He said, I've already lost my daughter. And to hell if I lose the son. To hell if I lose the son. No, same way I lost my daughter. He's the only talent in this family. That's
right.
what he told Olivia.
And LBJ, you are perfectly wrapping up now the flashback scenes and taking us to the present day. You know, before we leave the flashbacks, I just want to read. I did get a chance to write down a quote from Eli Rowan Pope as he was programming Pete Harris and morphing him into Jake Ballard.
Oh, I wrote up so much
this
too.
This was the moment when Pete was broken. He said, I will not hurt you. I will protect you, son. Mm-hmm. He is not here, meaning your biological father. I am. I am your family. I will take care of you. And this is the thing that
you definitely paraphrased that. It was very simple. He said he reached in and he grabbed him and he held him as he began, right before he began to hold him. And he said, after he got, first of all, Pete just got beat down by Charlie. And Rome was saying it the whole time like this, like.
Yeah, he was coming out of the hole.
Yeah, he was. And he said to him, he said, I am not him. I will not hurt you. I will protect you. I am here for you, son. That's what he said to him. That's what he said. He all that like I won't do this. It was very simple. I wrote it verbatim.
Excellent. Well, let us now go to.
You know, I nerd out over Rowan. I cannot help it.
You definitely did.
So much of his monologues tonight. Like I was like, can I get all this in the Scandal recap? Like, can I?
Everyone who watches this chat, we were all hoping that you were memorizing every single one of those monologues.
I have some stuff down. Like, you can give me the segue. If you give me the segue to do it, I'm going to do it. Oh, don't do it. Oh, my gosh. Oh, don't do it. Oh, my gosh.
And we hoped you had that good wig. Okay?
Okay, so listen. I'm not, as you can see, my room has gotten darker. The sun is now setting. I'm in California. So full disclosure, people, shout out to my wife, Candace Brown. Candace, I know you're watching.
Hey,
shout out to my wife. Shout out to my wife who made it possible for me to watch Scandal tonight with you all on the East Coast. We did a little Jimmy rigging stuff that we can't tell you about, but we did some Jimmy rigging so that I can watch the episode.
The East Coast. You all will never know what we have done over the years.
Let me tell you. No, let me tell you. Like, let the record show or not, let the record not reflect that we will not tell you what we've done to get this show up live.
OMG. The hustle is real.
Let me tell you.
LBJ, you know who else was hustling in this episode, LBJ? It was Olivia. Let's now go to the present day, LBJ.
Yo.
We have now explored the whole backstory of Jake and how he came to be a part of B613. Let's now go to present day and talk about how, B613 continues to be controlling Jake. Let's do context from prior episodes. Prior episodes, we know that Jake is in a marriage with a socialite woman. He's engaged, rather, to this socialite woman, and we know that Eli Rowan Pope and Jake have been funding a super PAC through her account. She's obviously like an enormously wealthy woman, okay? And they're using her identity to do all this offshore illegal banking, et cetera, funding the presidential campaign of one Edison, okay? And we also have been wondering, you know what? couldn't they do what? How does Jake, marrying Miss Chicky Boo? What's her name?
Vanessa. Did you call her Miss Chicky Boo? I was going to call her Honey Boo Child, and you call her Chicky Boo. Because I feel like Vanessa is like a country bumpkin, and she's hiding it, and they're gonna tell us later in the episode, later in the season, like
no. She is she can trace her lineage back to the Mayflower. That's who Vanessa is. Okay?
Vanessa has a pedigree.
She has a pedigree. She is the kind of American royalty that puts a man into the White House.
Yes.
And that is exactly why we come to find out later in the episode. That is why she is being matched with Jake. But the beginning of the episode, we see who? We see Olivia. She is in bed.
We see Olivia with her hair all over her head. We see Olivia without the white coat, without the white hat. We see Olivia without the designer threads. Olivia is in her childhood bedroom that Maya and Rowan set up for her to her standards, I'm sure, as a preteen. And she is in that bed with a full bush. I don't have a prop. I need a prop. I have no prop. I'm in a hotel.
LBJ, the prop is on my head. Look at this.
Yeah. Wait, make it big real quick. Make it big. You have to make it
LBJ, this hair was to and fro, okay? And I just want to pause here. For every man who has ever looked at this woman when she comes to bed with her hair in a do-rag, you see us sleeping on satin pillowcases. This is what happens when a woman sleeps on a cotton pillowcase.
Yes.
I just want you to know that, LBJ.
But shout out to her texture, she had that good curl wave pattern going on there. So, Olivia, you can rock that in public if you're going to the grocery store. You can definitely rock that.
All I'm saying is #moisturize. But let's keep going.
Oh, God.
We see Olivia. Now, you'll recall, last episode, she did the thing that we just couldn't believe. She killed that old vice president. What was his name?
Andrew, Uncle Andy. She said
she killed Vice President Andrew, former Vice President Andrew. She killed him because he was doing all this trickeries to kind of blackmail all of them about the truth of what had happened as it related to his experience and departure from the White House and into a coma. We don't need to recap all those details.
Not at all.
He was willing to. He was telling everyone he was going to let the cat out of the bag. Olivia literally went insane. She said, "Not only are you not going to let the cat out of this bag, you're never touching any cat or any bag ever again." And she beat that man to death with a chair. She did. And so we ain't going to see him anymore. And we see Olivia now laying in bed in her father's house. And it just looks like she has been through something. And we're all feeling so sympathetic. Oh, my gosh. Olivia is just coping with the fact that, she has just committed this cold-blooded murder. Okay. And at the end of the day, it was for selfish reasons. Okay. This isn't even necessarily something for the greater good. Normally, she can talk herself into whatever she's doing is for the greater good. She killed that man because of the torture that she had personally experienced, essentially at his hand. And so we're seeing her recovering in her childhood home, and she is there in the darkness of her room. Jake comes in, her pretend brother, opens the windows, and he's like, "Oh, you're going to eat today. It's time for you to get up and at him. It's been weeks you've been laying in this bed."
I had to stop you because there was something that was pretty epic that I loved that happened in that before.
Yes.
He said, "You're going to eat today." He went to her father and said, "Yeah, I think I'm going to get her to comb her hair today."
And we all were thinking it.
Let me tell you, it was so funny. I'm sorry. I wrote that down in my notes that Jake noted Olivia combing her hair. I was like, that's borderline offensive. Jake, you should not be talking about her combing her hair. Secondly, she definitely had a nice little poof, bush, whatever you want to call it, and it worked. But she needed to comb her hair. And I thought that was such the brotherly / lover thing to do. Like,
so what?
It was like him looking at her in the morning like, "So what you gonna do with your hair?" Like, it was that kind of thing.
Yes, because there's a level of commonness that you must have with a woman before you can joke with her like that.
That hair is a crown.
We've been friends for what? We've been friends since 1999, and he can't joke with me like that.
Literally, I cannot. Like,
yeah. Don't try it, LBJ.
Literally.
Okay? So yeah, you got to have a certain level of commonness to get to that level of joking with a woman
And
about
that's
her
because
hair.
it ain't never been common. That's why I can't say that.
Exactly. And LBJ, what was so crazy was we're watching this little family scene play out, right? We're watching Jake, literally act like her brother. He's trying to rouse her out of bed. He's trying to perk her up. We see Eli coming in, acting like as usual. He's just this schizophrenic. He's now in father mode, talking about, oh, honey, get up out of bed. Let's go for a walk. Let's do a puzzle. Oh, it's going to be so great. So Olivia finds
Let's play Sudoku.
Sudoku will be so much fun, some crossword. LBJ, Olivia finally gets up. I don't know if she combed it, but she brushed it. She brushed the edges, and she got that hair somewhat together. And LBJ, she goes downstairs, and they see her leaving out, and they're like, "Oh, good, she's getting up, she's going out." And Olivia's like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna go for a little jog." LBJ, she runs, but she's not out just to enjoy the good weather. Is she, LBJ? What is she doing?
Olivia is out plotting and scheming with the key and leftover gladiators, Huck and Quinn. And she's like, yeah, I think they're falling for it. I think they're taking the bait. I think I'm catfishing them. I'm to get them thinking I'm crazy. And they're like, oh, really? Oh, good. Okay, great. What do you think is going on? Well, Jake's going to get married, but I have to find out why he's getting married, but I still don't know why. And I think that was a point up for us to pause and talk, because before we thought Olivia was completely like losing it. Like we saw her in the bed. She's like, hair is all like this, the bush in the back. And we're like, girl, go comb your hair, snatch your edges back, whatever y'all need to do. Like, what you do with your hair? Like, it was all of that going on. And then we got to see a chance. Then it was like, okay, she's not losing it, because a black woman will never let her edges be out of control unless there's something wrong with her. So her edges was all strategy, and she used that edge strategy to put Jake and her daddy on edge. And her whole strategy was to find out what's going on with her father and Jake. Her whole goal this episode is to figure out what is her daddy's plan. She knows her dad is up to something. She knows her dad has ultimate control over Jakey Pete. Is Jakey Pete a good name to call him? Can we call him Jakey Pete?
You know what? I don't know.
We're not there yet. We'll find it. Let it be organic. It'll be organic.
It'll come to us.
It'll come to us. It will come to us, and we'll figure out what it is.
We've got to find the right balance of honoring Pete and what he experienced, and the fact that Pete did not leave without a fight, okay? And Pete did not leave without finishing that business, Xing everything off his to-do list.
Is it Jakey?
We have to. I think you're right, LBJ. I think the time will come.
The time will come.
That's my way of saying no. That's the word.
Until then, the answer is no. The answer is still no. Keep moving. Anyhow, Olivia's trying to figure out what her daddy is doing with Jake, and she pushes and pushes and presses and presses and prods and prods. And we find out after all of this, after the secret meeting, after this run that she's taking into the woods and the gladiators. Mind you, did you people had that nice Mercedes? They were driving a very nice Mercedes when they ran to her. And I was like, okay, gladiators, Olivia's taking care of you. The checks and the contracts are coming through and the bills are paid. Congratulations. There's no sign of a reduction in force for OPA. So
what it's really a sign of is Mercedes having a product placement deal with ABC. But anyway,
along with Microsoft and the Surfaces and everything else that we see on the Scandal. So that's all it is, right? Now Mercedes has product placement in Scandal. Go figure. Anyway, so Olivia pushes and pushes and presses and presses and prods and prods and tries to figure out. And she learns that her dad has now set up Jake to become the vice president, as you said, the vice presidential candidate of Edison. But she does this through all of these like secret meetings and like all this poking and prodding that she does. Shout out to Olivia for being a gladiator though, and still gladiating what she needs to gladiate for the sake of what she needed to find out for this whole thing that she's created in her mind.
I completely, because you know what, I feel like she was really kind of teetering on this line between really being there in that house and being on the case, and then also actually getting emotionally swept up into Jake again. And so as we're watching her use all of her tactics to figure out what is happening, again, she's got OPA over there again, super duper printer, millions of photographs taped all over the wall and all over the window in high quality color on that good thick cardstock, that good glossy photo paper. And OPA is on the case, and we also are seeing Olivia pull out these manipulation tactics. And she even tells Huck and Quinn, she says, you know what, I'm going to have to really exploit Jake's one vulnerability. And they're like, well, what could it be? And she said, it's me. So we start to watch her do a seduction tactic on Jake. And she does it by just being as pitiful as she can possibly be. Oh, Lord, I am just really having a hard time processing the fact that I have murdered the former vice president. I just can't bear it.
Making her sound like the character from Django. She sounds like the character from Django. Don't do that. You said, oh, Lord, I just don't know. Oh, woe is me. Oh, Lord.
LBJ, I was actually taking that character from every gospel play I've ever seen. That's what I was getting it from.
Oh, Lord, what is he going to do? Leroy took the big piece of chicken tonight after service.
That's right. And LBJ, there she is, fully in her, taking, again, her entire life experience of going to church plays. She's harnessing all of it. And there she is. And there she is putting on this gigantic production. And guess what? Oh, it's working. It's working so much that she almost distracts Jake from going to his engagement party for his wedding. She almost distracts Jake enough that he goes to Eli Rowan Pope and says, you know, maybe we need to push this wedding back. I feel like I need to be focusing on Olivia right now. And she's getting him confused, LBJ. And so finally, she sees she's breaking him down. She puts on this entire scene where she fakes drunk, which frankly, again, this is like, get the man playbook, okay?
Yeah.
They're faking drunk, being as vulnerable as any woman can be. And of course, it calls out to Jake. And it is there in that moment that she gets the truth, LBJ. It's there where she forces Jake to blurt out, no, I don't love Vanessa. I'm only doing all of this because command wants me to be vice president of the United States of America to run with Edison. And this is the way that we're going to get it done. Mm-hmm. And LBJ, I have to shout out Janiyah Wright from prior episodes of the Scandal.
Come on, toot says your own horn.
LBJ, let me just say, when it comes to the Scandalous Scandal recap, you are by far our prophet. And I have always been proud to sit here and watch your prophecies come to fruition. But LBJ,
oh yes, come on.
I called this one. I called this one and I called it good. I knew Jake was going to get wrapped up in this election. And I knew that all of this was to get him onto that ticket with Edison. So we're...
Janiyah got her horns. She got her horns.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Hey.
Yeah, this is the wave. Yeah. LBJ. And so the jig is up. And guess what else is up? Once again, Jake's love for Olivia. And we see all of this come to a head. Finally, once the jig is up, you know, Olivia has revealed that she's really been investigating all of this still, and she's not really a drunk, emotional mess. Jake says, you know what? At the end of the day, Olivia, you can abuse me, you can use me up, and I'm going to keep coming back for you because I love you. And LBJ, they end up sharing nectar over there.
Oh, it was like all this nectar. This is alkaline. Yeah. This is LA alkaline nectar right here. Yeah. This is that good high price nectar right here. But it was alkaline nectar mixed with all kinds of spirit fingers and everything. We didn't even need to see it. All we knew is that the morning after, it was like the Outkast album. The morning after. Good morning. What do you want for breakfast? I don't know. You have eggs. You can eat eggs. You can eat eggs. You can eat eggs for breakfast, Olivia, because why? Jake is on a paleo diet for this wedding, but his paleo diet last night was croque de Olivia. That's what he had the night before. That's what he had.
Yeah, he got some good meat that night before, didn't he? Low carb.
Nothing but protein. Nothing but protein.
The Scandal Jam session was so good during that scene.
Yes.
During that scene where we were watching Jake and Olivia come together once again.
Yes.
Who was it, LBJ?
Oh, she's leaving. Oh, on the midnight train to Georgia, leaving on the midnight train to Georgia. Going back to find
a simpler place and time.
Every time he takes that ride,
be right
by his side.
I wanna be right
I know he will. Oh, that midnight train leaving on the midnight train to Georgia. Woo, woo. Gladys Knight and the Pips finally broke the mold of Olivia and Nina. Of Aretha and Nina Simone for the jam, and Stevie Wonder for the jam session. And Gladys Knight and the Pips were the jam session. I thought that was epic tonight, Janiyah. I actually shout out to Candace while it was on. I actually was singing along, and Candace started laughing at me because I did that. I know he will. I was definitely a Pip. What was going on?
Everyone does that. We can't help it. You have to do that. And you also have to
and I know he will. They go, I know he will. I did that.
You have to pull the train whistle as well.
Oh, yeah. Woo-hoo. And then they go, if you want to take a step further, they go, world, leaving midnight train to Georgia. I know all the BGVs for that. All the BGVs, I know the BGVs for that.
It's so good. And LBJ, I have to just call out one thing that happened on that epic night where they rode that midnight train to Georgia. They rode that midnight train to Nectarville.
Hey!
Jake said to her, he said, you have never chosen me. He said, you have never chosen me. We have done horrible things to each other. And you and I just keep coming back to you. And I keep finding myself right here in love with you. And it's important to call that out. Because Olivia is going to throw that back in his face.
I have to stop you. No, I have to stop you because I thought that this would be good for all the ladies tonight. Like, let me leave you with this, with my glasses off. Like, this was an epic moment. And I felt that the ladies might like this. So I actually scripted what he said during this moment. And I leave you with this. He says,
excellent.
Wait, I'm squinting because I have to read it without my glasses on.
That's fine.
Said, Olivia convinced him to say, I don't really love her. I don't remember. He says, I don't love Vanessa. That was the whole catalyst into all of this, right? And then he goes into saying, he says, the truth of the matter is that I'll never love anyone as much as I love you. You've never chosen me. For some reason, I still love you. And we've done horrible things to each other. Done it in front of you, looking at you, wanting you, dealing with you. I love you, Olivia. That's what he said to her. Those are his exact words.
Here, look, I'm Olivia.
See? You felt the feeling. You felt the quiver. See, I knew it. Oh, look at that. See? You felt it.
I did, LBJ, because it was so good. Yeah. It was so good to all of us because you know what? And I have always been Team Jake, Team Olake. I have always been Team Olake because that man loves that woman. And that man has been free to love that woman and has tried to help her make her dreams come true of being free herself on more than one occasion. And so for that reason, Jake, you will always be number one to me. And LBJ, we watched him pledge to Olivia once again.
Yes.
And they come up with this plan where Olivia says, listen, you can't marry Vanessa. And he said, I won't marry her.
Say it like she said it. She screamed it. How did she say it to him?
Can you tell us? I can't remember.
She said, "You can't marry her. You can't marry her." What was it, Olivia? You can't marry her. She kept screaming like that. It was terrible. I was like, Olivia, stop screaming.
I know.
What would Maya do? What would Mama do? Mama would not scream. Mama would say, "You can't marry her." Like, tap into Mama. Like, you can't do that. Mama says, "Livy, you can't marry." Like, you can't do that, Olivia. Stop screaming like a crazy woman. He knows he's onto you. He knows that you're bluffing.
But you know what? She knows he likes it. Let me just say, every bit of flip flop and cray cray that Olivia pulled out turns that man completely on. She
You're
knew
right.
what she was doing because she yelled him out, went upstairs, and he followed her up there. Okay, so they come up with this plan, LBJ, to live happily ever after with her screaming him in his face just like that for all eternity, and for him to jilt Vanessa at the altar. Why jilt her at the altar? Because that would be the only way that he would be able to become a person who could never be elected to any political office. You jilt America's princess? Oh, you will never be elected in this country. And so we watched them hatch this plan, and there was a moment where we're all confused as the viewers. We're like, is this for Olivia just a plan? Or is she really wanting to be with this man? And we realized that, you know what, it's both. Because there's actually a moment where Huck goes to Olivia and says, are you sure you want to do this? And she says to him, I'm ready to be happy. She's ready to give in and be with Jake and finally run off into the sun, which they should have done 35 seasons ago, like he offered to do for her. And we get to the wedding. LBJ. And there it is. It's almost time for Jake to marry Vanessa or to jilt her at the altar. And then, and LBJ, we hope you memorize this next monologue. And then, as Olivia is sitting there, once again, dreams about to come true right before her face, someone sits down next to her at the wedding, and it's her father. And what happened, LBJ?
So he says to her, wait, let me get ready. I need my good nectar water. Shout out to Los Angeles, California for putting on the whole like alkaline water game. Like I am so, you gotta get your good pH in. This is the pH right here. You get your pH in. Anyway, so yeah, what'd you say?
I said that's very interesting.
Yeah, like I bought like 4 liters of water when I got to LA today because alkaline water is a thing to drink. And so if you follow me on Snapchat, hashtag ELBEJAYE, LBJ, you'll see that I was like doing my LA thing. I bought all this alkaline water and like had it in the car, like I'm in LA, I get alkaline water. Like totally faking like I live here, right? So anyway, and I went to a local spot, like a woman got her nails done. She's like, do you mind taking the money out of my wallet? I can't touch it because I got my nails done. I was like, handle her, I'll buy my water, like I'm good. Like that's what was going on. But anyway, so let me try to do this whole thing, right? So he says to Olivia during this entire wedding thing, so Olivia sits down on the back row. Notice my glasses went off. Olivia sits down on the back row of the wedding, at the wedding, and her father comes in his tuxedo that he said that he was going to go get fitted and try on all that stuff. He comes in and he sits down. He's like, Olivia, daughter, how are you? Like, he grabs her chin. He says, I know what you're trying to do. Olivia like, as any daughter would do, and when she thinks daddy is on her, like, oh, daddy, the boy didn't call my voicemail. Oh, daddy, the boy didn't pick me up after school. Oh, daddy, he didn't buy me lunch. Oh, daddy, he didn't buy my shoes. She does that whole daddy thing. And Rowan's like, but I know what you've been doing. That was good. You're on it.
Yeah.
So then he says, he's like, Olivia. He grabs her by the chin and he adjusts her face to make sure that he's looking at her in the eye. He says, Olivia, I know what you're trying to do. And remember, there are people around, so he has to keep a smile on his face. Yeah. I know what you're trying to do. And if this wedding does not go forward, I will slit Jake's throat. I will slit his throat. I will do that because I love him, and he is the only talent left in this family. I've already lost a daughter, and to hell if that will happen to my son. So if he does not marry this woman, I will slit his throat. And you know what? It will only be your fault if his throat slit, Olivia. Oh, my daughter. And that's what he does with that.
Oh, LBJ, that was so good. Because you know what? Eli Rowan Pope is not going to let us get comfortable, okay? He's here offering his daughter puzzles just 2 days ago, okay? And now he's sitting there saying, listen, maybe I called you daughter because technically you're my daughter, but you ain't no daughter of mine. Because you'll recall that the day that Olivia tried to kill him, literally pointed a gun at him and pulled the trigger, he had of course commanded taking the bullets out. But the day she really attempted to kill that man, he mentally disowned her. She is no longer his daughter. And so he used that manipulation tactic right there. And I have to say, I wasn't surprised that it was going down like that. I mean, where did they decide to go to Nectarville? In Eli Rowan Pope's house. Do you really think he didn't know? Come on. You guys are crazy. Go find some secret location that Huck has swept down. That's where you need to go if you want to go to Nectarville. So, of course, he knows. You know,
okay, let me just say this, because I have to put a pin in what you're saying, because I'm an SNL fan, and you keep saying Nectarville, and I keep thinking about Omeleteville. When they say, bring it on down to Omeleteville. Bring it on down to Nectarville.
Yeah.
Like a house.
And it was with Justin Timberlake, right?
Yes. In the banana costume. Bring it on down to Omeleteville.
And LBJ, there they were, bringing it on down to Nectarville, okay? In Eli Rowan Pope's house. Obviously, the jig was going to be up, which it was, okay? And so now Olivia has this choice in front of her, full lip quiver intact. She's saying, what do I do? What do I do in her mind? And she ends up going to Jake. And again, in an effort to save his life, okay, she says to him some of the most hurtful things that not only that Jake has ever said to him, these are some of the most hurtful things that any woman has ever said to any man.
It's like take a time out. Like, take a time out. Like, it's crazy, yeah.
You're weak. She says, you know, I could never really be with you. Don't you see I keep passing you up over and over and over again, and you keep coming back to me? LBJ, he said he acknowledged that already just the night before as he was pledging his love to her. Yep. She took those statements that he used in his pledge of love, threw it back in his face, and said it was the very reason she would never choose him. She called him weak. She called him less than a man. And then if there was not enough wounds on him, she took out that good Morton's and she poured salt in that wound. And she said, I will always choose Fitz over you. I love him. You will never win. He is a man. And this is when she crossed the line, LBJ. She said, and when I am with you, all I'm ever doing is thinking of him anyway.
So tell me this, though. After she said all of that, as you're looking up into space and oblivion and all kinds of scandaldom,
yes.
What, do you think that Jake really believed her? Because remember, Jake was like, is this you or is this your dad? And she's like, this is me. This is me. Not my dad. He said, Rowan put you up to this. Rowan do this. This is me. This is me. This is me. I was like, Olivia, he knows you and he loves you. Here's the thing. When a man loves a woman, he can break her down. Jake still has the capacity to break her down. He just hasn't tapped into it yet. He almost did, but he did not do it. That's all I'm going to say.
LBJ, well, he's been keeping that nugget in his pocket real tight.
No, he doesn't know it. He doesn't know that he has it. Like, the thing is that it's not nectar. It's not spirit fingers. He's got to go there. Wherever there is, he has to go. And therein lies the power. Because Olivia and Jake have the power to take down command. Remember, we saw in this episode, in the whole hazing breaking down process, he said to him, he said, are you trying, Jake said to Rowan, he said, are you trying to take down command? I am command. Command cannot be taken down, son. He said that to him. He's like, you won't take me down. Jake can take Rowan down with Olivia in the superpower with him. They've got to tap into that. When will that happen? I hope that it happens this season. I want to see Rowan come to his knees and become someone's simp. I want to see that. I do want to see that.
And you know what? I know we don't have, we're out of time, but
I out of time.
Hoped that day of reckoning would come at the hands of Maya.
Come on, reckoning, yes.
Yeah, but we'll put a pin in that. We'll put a pin in that. And Jake, again, not knowing that he has the power, he goes ahead and marries Vanessa.
Yes.
And there's a moment where we aren't sure whether he's going to do it. Because he pauses when it's time for him to say, I do. Does. And we see him look at who? Eli Rowan Pope. And because we know Jake, we know that he's probably thinking to himself, Olivia has been manipulated. Eli Rowan Pope is at the hands of this. I am going to have to find a way to save my woman. That's what he was thinking. We know that. And so we watch Jake give in to another tactic of Eli Rowan Pope and marry Vanessa. And then the scandal jam session of the night.
Woo!
Roberta Flack started to sing.
First time.
The first time ever I saw your face. And LBJ, I want to have a moment of transparency with you.
Uh-oh, you felt the feeling? You felt the feeling?
I did not, the tears did not fall, but I would say like this left eye, this one, there might have been a little moisture that gathered right around the edge because when that song came on and the lyrics, the first time I ever saw your face, it means a lot because there were so many first times that were recalled in this episode.
Yes.
First time that Jake saw Eli, okay? We had Jake talking about falling in love with Olivia. And there was even a scene right toward the end where we watched Olivia walk away from Jake so we could marry Vanessa and walk past Fitz and out of the church. Fitz and Jake had an exchange earlier in the episode where, Fitz had admitted to Jake, you know what, I thought you were going to end up with her. And, they both, they're once again, they're sipping cocktails saying that woman, she got us good yet again. And we see, and again, Roberta Flack is singing and we're watching Olivia walk past and away, not just past, but away from both of the men that she truly loves because of the man who raised her, created her, and is command and is in control.
Yeah.
And that's how the episode ended, everybody.
It did.
So good.
Let me just say
kept us going tonight.
I felt that song also represented Rowan's compassion for Jake as well. Like, as hard as Rowan is, there was something in Jake that he saw that he developed an affinity for. And I felt that we still don't know what that is, but I think that it was Jake's willingness to submit to Rowan that made him the star. That's what set him.
LBJ, those are crickets because the hush falls over the crowd as you use the word compassion in relationship to Eli Rowan Pope.
Rowan had compassion for Jake. No.
He has his thumb on Jake. He is in control of Jake. Jake is a puppet. He's a puppet. He's in the noggin.
Janaya, Rowan saw the promise in the project of Jake, and that's what I'm trying to say. There was promise inside of do not push crickets again. There was something that he saw.
Implied. They're implied. I don't have to push it. Everybody's thinking it.
No, whatever.
I don't have to push it.
No. There was something that he saw in Jake that made Jake the star, and it made him rise to the top. And it won't remain to be seen because it's obvious. Like Rowan favors Jake. Period. And you can't deny that. No crickets or nothing, implied or not implied. Rowan favors Jake.
I mean, but the question is, and this is what we should wrap on and get to our good round robin here.
Yes.
LBJ.
I have to go and use the bathroom too.
The question is, what is the reason for his affinity? And you are implying that there's some kind
he is valuable. He
is
valuable. He is putty. He is the ideal person. He is better than Charlie. Jake is the steed. He is the one that he wants to raise to be the thoroughbred of B613, and he sees that. And Jake is that. That's why he favors Jake. It's clear. It's not a pure form of first time ever. It's like a fleshy, selfish form. First time. It's like Curtis with Dina in Dreamgirls. When I first saw you, I said, "Oh my, you're my dream. That's my dream." We thought it was so romantic and lovey-dovey that he said that. No. He's like, I first saw you, I said, "Oh my, that's my dream. That's my dream." That's what he saw was money. That's this whole situation with Rowan and Jake. Like that's what it is. It's not like the first time. It's like first time ever I saw you.
I'm picking up what you're dropping.
Thank you. Take back your crickets, Janaya. On to the round robin we go. Yes. Thank you, audience. The audience is here. They give me applause. They're good. Yep, they're good. They're still here. They're clapping for me. Absolutely. Let's do this. Yay. Round robin. Here we go.
LBJ. Let's kick off the round robin with Stephanie Beard. Now we know why Huck can stay away easier than Jake. Jake wasn't happy when he joined and had nothing to lose. Huck was happy and ended up losing his family.
Man, let me tell you. Dan Blakemore is here. I changed my background. Dan Blakemore says, co-sign on that ill daddy Pope hair piece. Hashtag male pattern baldness is real. Dan Blakemore, are you suffering too? Brother, little brother, big brother is calling you. We need to go get some hair implants, okay? We need hair implants, seriously.
LBJ, I will say we need to get our prop game up for real. Like we got to be ready.
Prop game, if I was not in California, I changed my background, so I was over here, but I'm over here. This is my background. They're shooting a movie. Actually, if you look like in the distance, there's like fluorescent lights, like right there. Over it. It's over it. Down here. That's a movie set. They're filming a movie right there. Anyway, my prop game would have been on point.
I'm sorry if I didn't look impressed. It's just that I live in New York and I walk past movie sets all the time. But anyway.
I'm in Hollywood.
Anyway, LBJ Candace is in the chat.
Hey. What did Candace say?
She said, Rowan seems to have a love and affinity to Jake that he doesn't have for Charlie, Huck, or even Olivia. It's deeper than we realize. Candace, you didn't have to get in there co-signing with your man, okay? It's so good.
And
LBJ, I gotta call out Rakira in the chat.
I was doing the same thing. Yes.
Is that what?
Go ahead. Yes, I have the same one.
LBJ, that was great as Papa Pope. Olivia still doesn't know better. Your parents have always been there, done that, and have the t-shirt. Olivia is just falling like every child for the okie doke. Parents know. And the no is in capital letters because guess what? They do.
But guess who is back disagreeing with me for like the first time in history ever It is the Jackie O 2006. Jackie O.
Always.
I know Jackie O. I need you to get your camera shot because you are so good in your live, like your comments, your intonation, everything is good about what you have to say. Jackie O says, LBJ, I have to disagree on Rowan's compassion. She says Rowan is the devil.
Yes.
Says the other devil is Lucius on Empire.
That is devil 1 and devil 2.
Devil 1 and devil 2.
Yeah, loud about the Jackie O.
Oh, and it's so good. Wait, Janaya, I think I found the devil. I think the devil got inside of me. Oh, I don't know what to do. Oh.
Oh. How is that you?
Oh, God.
Who is that?
Oh.
LBJ Gigi Johnson in the chat said, I wonder if Jake's childhood background similar to something Rowan went through. Aha! That be the source of affection.
Something, yeah, because he's several generations removed from slavery, so it wasn't slavery that brought it upon him. What brought it upon him? Good question.
What brought it upon him? And this could be the thing that LBJ and Candace Brown are talking about, this affection that he has for Jake.
Don't come from my family. Don't do that. Do not do that. That is not allowed. It cannot happen.
You're so Lucius right now.
I'm so Lucius. Oh, don't even. Drip, drop. No. Boom, boom, boom. Bang, bang, bang. That's where.
Yeah.
No, but Rakira says, and can it be any more clear after tonight that there is no way that Tom is working for anyone other than Papa Pope? We said it. He's eyes and ears. Tom and Charlie, eyes and ears.
Clearly. Thank you so much for saying that. We almost forgot. You know, there are so many B613s that are out there, and, you know, they are just so present. B613 has never been dead. Even in the point where we thought it was on pause, it is never on pause. I left in the chat, said, why does Olivia always try to get over on her father? She was plotting in his house. Thank you, I left. Do you not think that he knows what's going on here? Come on.
Yeah. So we were trying to figure out what to call Pete Jake or Jake Pete, Jakey Pete.
Yes.
Jackie O is back. She says, let's call him Petey Jake, right? So then I'm like, okay, I'm thinking Petey Jake might work. Then little brother Dan Blakemore comes into the picture and he says, LBJ, the solution may be PJ rather than Pete Jake, Jake Pete, or Jeet Pake. Jeet Pake, you get it? Jeet Pake. I think we should call him PJ. PJ is the code word for Jake Pete.
LBJ, if I could just have better reflexes, I could get the...
Hey, do it again.
I love that because it allows us to honor Pete.
Yep.
Pete deserves respect. Pete deserves respect. Pete had a hard life. We can't just let him go off to the wayside and to the by side. It lives on as PJ.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's good. It's so good. The Q&A is off the chain. If you miss it, you are missing it. I mean, they are shouting out, Janaya, your heart's on top of your head. They're shouting. They're talking about, I mean, everyone's talking about a lot of stuff here. They're talking about your first hither and thither of the night when you said that. We talked about Fitz being in Congress before he was the governor. Jackie O gets shout outs from love from Dan. Dan gets shout out love from Jackie O. Dan Blakemore, Stephanie Beard said to you that Big Jerry Fitz's father was the congressman that Rowan referenced when they were talking about that. Hence what you said earlier in the chat tonight. Yes, it was
LBJ, the Jackie O 2006 really sums something up here.
Uh-oh. Is your rotary phone ringing right now, Janaya? Is that your rotary phone ringing?
It's like I went through and picked the wackest setting out of all of the settings.
And you have an iPhone? That is terrible. Why do you have that ringtone? That is terrible.
Oh. LBJ, I love the way that the Jackie O 2006 put this. Rowan groomed Pete Jake, we now call PJ, by slithering into the deepest recesses of Pete's tortured life.
The bowels.
Back in his face, blaming him for his father's sins. He broke him all the way down. Poor Jake. He craves normal so bad. I got to screen print that because we're going to come back to that on the later. I just screen printed that because we're going to come back to that. I'm saving it to my OneDrive because thank you for that. The Jackie O 2006. Really? We're going to come back to that.
You're saving it. You're screen printing it. You're saving it to your OneDrive. That's a perfect segue to what Dan Blakemore says is Janiyah loves a Kyocera printer. Are you going to put that on your Kyocera printer?
Because you know what? It's so high powered. They get those photos up on that wall like nobody's business.
On the window. Oh my gosh, this is good. So we've hung out for long enough. We have shared a lot tonight. We have been gone for 2 weeks. Or no, a week we've been gone. We were off a week because the scandal was off, and we're back. Thank you all so much for watching and participating with us. This has been so much fun as always. Let me tell you, Jimmy rigging this chat and making it happen so that we can get it to you live on the East Coast is everything. Yes. I think I might rewatch Scandal on like an actual color TV and not like a Jimmy rigged version. And then tweet with like the West Coast people plus some of the other West Coast Scandal podcasters / live chat bloggers. What I should have done was said, I'm gonna be in your town. Let me come sit in your set, and then like been a part of that, Janiyah. And then we could have been there like you on the iPad. I could have had you here like this, like next to me, like here's Janiyah. Hi, Janiyah. How are you? And I could have like, yeah, we're doing this. Like, hey, here's Janiyah, and here's Liz. Janiyah, how do you feel about Scandal today? Do you feel great about Scandal today, Janiyah? Like, I could have done this, and I could have done that, but it's not going to work tonight. Anyway.
It's just lacking enough that we would actually do that, actually. So, anyway, such a great chat tonight. Oh, my gosh. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. You know, there's so much good television out there on Thursday that when you're tuning in to chat with us, it's just means so much. So, thank you so much.
It does. It means so much. And we thank you for your time, your sacrifices. We thank you for your comments. We thank you for your resharing. We don't take any of you or what you do for granted. Each and every one of you, like from the bottom of my heart and from the bottom of Janiyah's heart, we definitely appreciate you. And we want to take this bigger and make it greater and better. So when that time comes, be there for us as we are for you. And we will support and we will continue to just like raise this banner high of just having fun and having good dialogue amongst people who like know what they're talking about, right? Like I know what I'm talking about. Janiyah knows what she's talking about. And furthermore, you know what you're talking about. And that's why this is Scandalous Recap. And we love you we will see you next week for Scandal. Yes. Have a good night, everyone. We will see you next time. God bless you. Good night. And I'm about to go turn up, I guess, on the West Coast, but not really. Bye.